It's a sign of our times, but real estate is a very important asset class. So a lot of people think, well, I have stocks, I have bonds, I have mutual funds. They're just assets. But real estate is, to me, the single most important asset class to study. And that's why I'm glad to have both Brandon Turner and David Greene, and their podcast is Bigger Pockets, the #1 real estate podcast in the world as far as I'm concerned. And you do a very important service called educate people on real estate, because it is a tricky subject. And especially today, since I just was watching CNBC, Bubble Vision, and they finally acknowledged that Zillow has a 7,000 property problem because they flip property. And naturally I tax, and I don't flip property. I hold property forever. I collect rent forever, and I pay no taxes. So if you like paying taxes, then don't invest in real estate. If you like paying taxes, have a 401k, biggest ripoff I've ever seen. But so that's why real estate as an asset class in the macro picture globally is the single most important subject, but also the most complex. And the reason it's complex is if you buy, let's say, Apple stock, and you make a mistake, you say you buy Apple at Tesla at $1,000 or something. You buy Tesla at $1,000 and it starts to crash, you can get out tonight. You can get out immediately. But you buy a piece of real estate, you can't get out. So in financial literacy, which most school teachers have no idea what that means, the word is called liquidity. And the reason real estate needs to be studied more than any other subject, other than entrepreneurship, is liquidity. You start a business, you can't get out if you make a mistake. You buy a piece of real estate, you can't get out. So that's why this is a very, very important program. Again, the podcast is Bigger Pockets. It's Brandon Turner and David Greene. So welcome to the Rich Dad Radio Show, you guys.
Wow. Thank you, Robert.
Thanks, Robert.
This is amazing. I mean, man, it's an honor to be here. So, but I love that you brought up Zillow. You kind of started with that conversation.
So again, they're going for capital gains, and it has to do with the property. Man, it's going to be social distance. That's cowardice. Look, this is the best time to be alive, but you've got to be smarter.
Right.
So if Zillow comes crashing down, celebrate. Pop the champagne, suck a couple of drinks, but be smart. Listen to Bigger Pockets. Listen to people who know what they're talking about. Real estate is very local. You can have a piece of property, 5 miles apart, and there'd be 2 different demographics, 2 different types of renters, all that stuff going on. So you can't just give me the jargon. So the final word I want to say is this: one of the biggest real estate deals I missed was after, it was in 1996, it was the Thai baht crisis. I was in Thailand sniffing around for deals. I was in Bangkok. And this guy was trying to sell me this office building. It was only $4 million. I forgot how many square feet, So I'm in Bangkok, Thailand, looking at this building. It's $4 million. Then the Thai baht thing, long-term capital management crashed, which is my friend
Jim Rickards,
and all this stuff was happening all over the world. This was '96, I think. And so I looked at that office building. I said, "God, I'm glad I didn't buy it." So I come back a few years later. I said, "Who bought that building?" He said, this woman bought it. I said, "What's she doing with it?" She turned it into a cat house. So she was renting out office space by the night.
There's always an opportunity.
And she was creaming it. So, I said, I've got to take this woman to lunch. She was only like 35 years old. She says, "It's the oldest profession in the world. I'll always be in business." I sat there howling and cracking up and crying almost, because I couldn't see it. And so my whole thing, no matter how bad it is, keep an open mind, study, I'm not recommending you open a cat house or anything like that, but I sat there looking at her going, "You got it, kid." I mean, she's real.
Hello, YouTubers. I'm on. Okay. So what am I doing here? Is this thing still recording? Okay. Yeah. I thumbed up and thumbed down this. You can't undo a thumbs up. You know, if you grow up being surrounded by war profiteers, that might actually be viable to you in your mind, if it's brought to light, kind of thing. But no. Do not keep an open mind. Some things will always be wrong. And, yeah. I mean, I know there was a big movement here about legalizing the sex trade and all that kind of stuff and whatever. And, people are mistreated this and that and that. And, you know, there's it's not always some kind of pimp smacking around his property kind of thing or whatever and all that. Yeah, you know what? I once heard an argument about slavery. Slavery works. I don't understand this. We ought to go back to slavery, kind of thing. Oh, boy, I tell you, it's not that every situation that occurs under a specific set of policies is inherently evil, but the fact that situations can arise which are inherently evil in a system like that can just do arise and are commonplace in the situation is enough to make it null and void. Okay, it's not what happens, but what can happen in a system like that. Okay, it's just same thing with the sex trade. Yeah, all right, same argument. You know, the sex trade is viable just like slavery is viable if you want to go there. Okay, so. Yeah, I had thumbed up that kind of get this thing. I had put a thumbs up on that video until he got to that last part, and then I gave it try to undo that. And I did the thumbs down thing, but it doesn't actually kind of even it out. It just you either pick one or the other. You can toggle between the two, but you end up once you've chosen one of them, you're gonna have to stick with one of them. So, yeah. So I gave that video the thumbs down, but at the same time, I subscribed to Rich Dad Radio Show. Yeah. So, yeah. He hit a lot of awesome points in that particular video. Okay, I obviously am not going to agree with everything that anyone says. For one thing, I'm contrary like that. I don't like agreeing with people. But yeah, I obviously don't agree with everything. But he is consistently right on the mark as far as what I can see, except for things like that. No, you should not always have an open mind. Your mind should stay closed at certain points in time. Some things are always wrong. Some things will always be wrong. So, no, you should not always have an open mind. Anyway, yeah. Where was I? Still Houston. Saturday, November 13th, I think. Okay, where is this thing? Yes. Saturday, November 13th, 12:56 p.m. afternoon. I tried to apply for another loan because it had occurred to me. If I remember correctly, every time you apply for a loan, your credit score goes down or something like that. So if you're going to apply for a loan, what's the rule of thumb? Apply at a lot of places or some such thing. Because if you just space it out, your credit score goes down. I don't know why they have it set up that way, but whatever. So I tried the Space City thing, but the options they gave me as far as what I can use the loan for were too limited. I didn't know really which thing to select at that point. So I tried to call, but it's closed. I have to call Monday through Friday. So I did a little Googling or whatever, DuckDuckGoing, and came across Texas Bay Credit Union. That was open. A couple of their branches were open. So I went through their application thing, and again, the list of purposes for your personal loan thing didn't really apply to my thing. I called and got someone. She initially started suggesting the mortgage thing, but then I told her, no, this is going to be investment property and this is going to be abroad. I don't even know. Is this too ambitious for a credit union kind of thing? I was trying to... Anyway, she got down my contact information and said she'd be forwarding my information to her VP, I don't know, whatever, and I guess the vice president of that particular branch or whatever it was, and that person will be contacted. I also started searching for banks in Turkey. And wouldn't you know it, Wikipedia has a list of banks in Turkey, so I went down that thing. And I started listing them according to how many branches they had and all that kind of thing. First I wrote down the American ones, which were only 3, and then there was one British one and one Dutch one. And then I started listing the ones in Turkey, the Turkish banks, according to how many branches they had. And yeah, how did I get to Texas Bay Credit Union? I don't know. I was doing a search and it pulled up something else, but the something else it pulled up ended up being pretty useful. So what did I do? Oh, okay. After I had done the banks in Turkey, ING Bank in Houston came up. A list of banks in Turkey. All right. Please select type of, yeah. All right, so I tried calling Space City Credit Union, and I couldn't get, the branches were closed. So then I did a search on Istanbul Bank, and then one of the things that got pulled up is a list of banks in Turkey, which was the Wikipedia list. And ING bank has 210 branches. The British bank HSBC Bank has 77 branches. The 3 American branches on the list, Citibank had 3 branches, Merrill Lynch Bank had 1, and JP Morgan Chase has 1. So, yeah. The Turkish banks, Ziraat Bankazi has 1,758 branches. It was founded in 1863. The Turkish Bankası, whatever, I never pronounce it right, don't worry about it, has 1,271 branches. It was founded in 1924, basically when it became a republic. Halk Bankası has 1,006. It was founded in 1938. I wrote the rest of them down, all the way down to 113 branches, all the ones in Turkey. But I guess I'm going to be concentrating just on the first three. It has the most banks. So, the Texas Bay Credit Union can't deal with it, and Space City can't deal with it. JP Morgan Chase has a branch here in Houston. See if Merrill Lynch or Citibank does. Well, ING has a bank here. Anyway, these are the 5 international banks that are in Turkey. So I guess I'll focus on that list, on those 5 banks. If the credit unions can't do it, and if the ones here, the international banks, can't do it, we'll see about the ones in Turkey. Of course, starting with the first 3, the biggest 3. So I've definitely decided to get a loan. Because, yeah, this is ridiculous. Anyway, what I am finding out is all the different ways they have of lending stuff. All the different ways of borrowing. So this is getting very informative. And what was the okay, and as far as the eligibility, so we're getting a bit beyond the scope of the credit union. Okay, this is for Texas Bay. Who can join? Texas Bay's field of membership includes people, business, and other legal entities who live, work, worship, attend school, or are based in Harris County, Montgomery County, or Fort Bend County. All right, who else can join? Anyone that lives, works, etc. within a 10-mile radius of any Texas Bay branch location. Or, who else can join? Anyone associated with one of our select employer groups. And like Metro Credit Union, once you become a member, you're a member for life, even if you move beyond the stuff. So, I'm going to go ahead and try these couple of credit unions. And Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, right? And see if they can deal with it. If not, there are 5 banks I can try that also are established in Turkey. And if that doesn't work, I'll try the banks, the Turkish banks. I guess that's how I'm approaching it. Okay, so I got in my Duolingo lesson yesterday. Wasn't able to rent anything. I'm becoming one of those old farts that starts falling asleep in the middle of the early in the evening kind of thing. So yeah, that didn't work out. I'm still working on that one. Yeah, so I am watching real estate videos, and I'm going to take off the marketing stuff, off the affiliate marketing, YouTube channels, off the featured channel list. I don't think that's a real viable option. unless you have an infinite amount of patience, an infinite amount of time, and your personality just happens to sync up with spinning your wheels like that. Do I think it's impossible to make any kind of income doing those things? No, I don't think it's impossible. I think it's impossible for me to make any serious kind of income doing that, because you need an infinite amount of patience and an infinite amount of time, and I have neither. So I'm going to go ahead and take that one off. I think there's another one I'm going to take off. There are a couple of featured channels I'm going to take off. I'll go ahead and put a link to it, to the ones I'm taking off, and put them in the description thing. But no, I'm not including it. I can't seriously consider it any kind of real source of income. That's for people that want to tinker and stuff and spin their wheels and not get much of a return. Return of investment, which even if it's not money, it's time and effort. And if you have an infinite amount of both of those, fine, but I don't. And I really don't think it's much. It'll generate much of an income, even if you do have an infinite amount of time and patience. So, yeah. I'm still holding on to my Shopify thing because I do not want to lose sight of the fact that I'm going to try to go get online, to have a financial existence online. But as far as it being a quick way to generate any kind of income, I don't think so. I really don't. So, I'm taking those featured channels out. I'm going to be adding Rich Dad radio show to it, even though I wholeheartedly disagree with that, the ending of his most recent video. Yeah, you should not, there's some things you should not have an open mind about. Some things will always be wrong. Right? And that kind of thoughtless, if not vicious, then at least thoughtless exploitation is always unacceptable. I will always think so. So, again, if you are raised or if you grew up among war profiteers, by comparison, it may seem mild. Yeah, that kind of harsh, jaded, destructive way of life may seem mild by comparison, but I can only say that that's the only thing I can think of. That the comparison, it would come actually ahead of it's just, some things are always wrong. So, anyway, I'll be reshuffling the featured channels list I have. I'm also going to put up links to some other of the real estate videos I've come across. The ending of that particular video, the latest one he uploaded, was so offensive. I'm not putting a link to it. It's enough that I'm putting it as a featured channel list, and you can go through it and you can make whatever judgment calls you want to make. But I found that really objectionable. And it was so excellent. It was an excellent video until you got to the end of it. And some things are just always wrong. All right, that's about it. I'm really getting into the real estate frame of mind. I'm still an old fart, and I will always be an old fart, and that's very set in my ways. And as far as stuff like that's concerned, that's not going to change. So yeah, I'm going to be a real, excuse my French, hard ass when I'm managing property, apparently. Especially if you have people like that running around. Yeah. No, I definitely need to hire younger, friendlier folk, because I can't imagine I'm going to be helpful in a friendly way that you need to be helpful to people staying at your hostel. You know, budget traveling is harsh. It's a harsh reality. There's not too many things easy about it. You do not need anyone that's that rough around the edges. You know, you really need someone that's genuinely friendly and generous, you know, and welcoming. Because budget traveling is harsh. It is not for the weak of heart. All right, so it's yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna be a real hard ass. So yeah. Again, excuse my French, but after a video like that, this is what you have to brace yourself for. Apparently, in real. Oh my God. Oh jeez, yeah. You see, I knew I wasn't gonna like being a landlord. Well, it's not really a landlord, but property manager is gonna. It's gonna be hard going, especially when the world's falling apart, right? Yeah, I'm definitely gonna need a young, friendly staff. And there have to be volunteers, because this old fart can't, unless, well, even if I'm financed, I gotta look around and see what my competitors are doing, because, you know, you're not running a charity, especially nowadays, unless you're gonna just be overwhelmed with the desperate. Nowadays, everyone is desperate, so it's like, talk about an overwhelming task. Yeah, it's not workable. Certainly not workable in this country, because everyone's not only made desperate, but hostile and vicious, and just, no, this is not viable in this country as far as I'm concerned. I'm not willing to go. I certainly don't have the personality to go with here. I mean, the options are diminishing by the day, but all the same, oh heck no. Yeah. As long as I'm physically capable of getting on a plane, there are other options. Keep your passport close by. As long as I can physically get on a plane, there are other options. So, oh heck no. Hell to the no, alright? So, yeah. Yeah, I'm becoming a real potty mouth. Oh well, bad company. Alright. Yeah, it's a harsh world. Keep your passport close by. Alright, boys and girls, I have tinkering to do with my featured channels, and I have links to add to the description section. If not of this video, then of yesterday's video. I wanted to put up some links to that, but I dotted off to couldn't even rent my video. So yeah, yesterday was cut short. Alright. Yeah, got a lot of tinkering to do. And it's not that early, so you know, as soon as I finish my tinkering, it'll be time to boil some bean pasta kind of thing, and to have something ready for the rest of the week, at least the beginning part of it. Alright, boys and girls, take care. Hopefully I'll hear back from somebody before next weekend and have something to report, one way or the other. And I'll talk to you later. Take care.